Softwood was never meant to survive history. That's the lie we inherited. Every rule says pine should rot, spruce should twist, and fir should fail the moment water, insects and time get involved. And yet, across the cold northern world, softwood carried ships over brutal seas, held halls upright for centuries, and supported bridges long after their builders were dust. Not steel, not concrete, softwood that behaved like stone. And the reason why was a method so effective it quietly embarrassed modern construction before vanishing into obscurity. This is one of those stories history didn't lose. It ignored it. The tree was chosen before it was cut. The northern method didn't begin with tools. It began with restraint. Builders waited. They cut trees only in the dead of winter, when the ground was frozen solid and the sap had retreated into the roots. That timing mattered more than any later treatment. Without sap, the wood was stripped of sugars and starches that insects and fungi depend on. From the moment the tree fell, it was already hostile to decay. Cold did the rest. Freezing temperatures forced moisture out of the cell walls, tightening the wood from the inside. Fibres shrank and compacted naturally. No machines, no chemicals. Nature performed the first hardening process on its own terms. This wasn't folklore. It was biological precision. Winter-cut wood starts life denser, drier and tougher than anything harvested in warm seasons. Modern lumberyards know this, but, speed erased the discipline. Northern builders never rushed what nature was already perfecting. Water that strengthened instead of destroyed. Here's where modern thinking, collapses. After cutting, logs weren't protected from water. They were thrown into it. Rivers, lakes, coal bogs, sometimes for months, sometimes for years. To modern eyes, that sounds like sabotage. In reality, it was controlled transformation. Water immersion leached out remaining sugars and proteins, starving decay organisms before they ever had a chance. At the same time, minerals in the water slowly migrated into the wood's structure. Iron-rich environments reacted with natural tannins, permanently altering the chemistry of the timber. The wood darkened. Its density increased. Flexibility faded while hardness rose. This wasn't rot. It was, in fact, slow reinforcement. This process is how bogwood forms over centuries, but even partial immersion delivered dramatic results. The wood became less absorbent, less edible, and far more stable. Northern builders understood something we, kind of forgot. Rot needs food. Take that away, and time loses its weapon. Drying was treated like a siege. Once the wood left the water, the real patience began. Nothing was rushed. Timber dried slowly, under cover, but fully exposed to moving air. Years passed. Moisture escaped at its own pace, allowing cell walls to collapse inward instead of cracking apart. Internal stress drained away. Density increased again. Compare that to modern kiln drying. Heat forces water out fast, tearing microfractures through the wood structure. Kiln-dried softwood feels finished, but it's already wounded inside. Air-dried wood becomes something else entirely. Quiet, stable, heavy in the hand. Northern builders didn't just wait because they could. They waited because strength takes time to lock in.
Fire that preserved instead of burned. Then came fire. Carefully, respectfully. Beams and posts were lightly charred, not scorched. Just enough heat to seal surface pores, kill fungi, and carbonize the outer layer. That thin shell of carbon became armor. Insects avoided it. Moisture struggled to penetrate it. Microbial life failed to take hold.
Inside, the wood remained structurally sound, protected, balanced. This wasn't destruction, it was refinement. Wood with skin toughened by flame, and a heart untouched by weakness. The technique endured wherever builders valued longevity over appearances, because it worked every time. After fire came saturation, warm pine tar, natural resins, boiled linseed oil. These weren't surface coatings meant to look good for a season. They were deep treatments applied repeatedly and allowed to soak into hardened fibres. Unlike modern sealants, these substances didn't trap moisture. They repelled liquid water while letting vapour escape. They stayed flexible in freezing temperatures. They aged with the wood instead of peeling away from it. Each application made the timber heavier, darker, tougher. The surface hardened slowly, becoming more resistant with time rather than less. This was preservation that improved with age. Buildings that let wood breathe. Northern builders never trusted treatments alone. Design carried equal weight. Roofs were steep, so water never lingered. Posts were lifted off the ground. Air moved freely through structures. Joints avoided traps where moisture could hide. Everything was built with one rule in mind. Wood must dry quickly after it gets wet. That's the real secret. Wood doesn't fail because it gets wet. It fails because it stays wet. Given the chance to breathe, timber treated this way didn't just survive, it endured. Why the method disappeared? This system wasn't lost because it failed, it vanished because it refused to hurry. Industrialization demanded speed. Patience became expensive. Soft wood was downgraded to disposable material, treated quickly, installed faster, and replaced often. Chemical shortcuts replaced climate, fire, and waiting. By the time global conflict pushed construction into mass production, the northern method was already labelled obsolete, not outdated, inconvenient. But the buildings remained, silent evidence that the old way worked. This forgotten method proves something modern systems struggle to admit. Durable infrastructure doesn't require endless resources. It requires understanding materials at their most fundamental level. Soft wood didn't turn into stone by accident. It was engineered slowly, relentlessly, intentionally. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. If this episode cracked open a hidden chapter of history for you, make sure to subscribe to the Forgotten War Fronts. Share this story with someone who still believes old builders didn't know what they were doing. Because the past isn't fragile. We just stopped listening to it.